Ma'am, let's convene the meeting at, what time is it?
1:35.
1:35. Call the meeting to order. Don't do that. Pledge consent agenda. Is there anything we need to do, introduce people, et cetera, before we get going?
Me?
Yeah, you.
So we have a guest here, Jimmy Mathis. He's a longtime resident of the city of Forest Hill. Forest Hill has one of our positions coming available to work with us. And I invited Jimmy to see if this was something he might be interested to apply for, and we can get him appointed at our next meeting.
Glad to be here, Jimmy.
Welcome. All right. All right, consent agenda. If you had a chance to look at the last meeting minutes, I will entertain a motion to approve. We are approving minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, we've changed verbs on me a time or two.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All right. We're gonna fight for seconds. Any discussion? All right. Is this a meeting where we vote
I'll
or?
just say all in favor.
All right, that was my second one. All right, all in favor, raise your hand, right hand. Okay, 100%.
Any opposed?
Any opposed? You're gonna make me do the whole thing. All right, I didn't see any opposed, right? All right, that's done. Do we have any citizens' comments? Anybody? Okay. Discussion items. Presentation and report on the status municipal animal services shelter by Ray Rentschler. You're up.
All right,
The goodies are on the wall behind us.
what, no handouts? No handouts now, and I minimized the chart.
Save the
Okay,
tree,
good.
that's right.
Yeah, if it's gonna be long, we need handouts.
What do you got?
So what I did is, I wanted to, so it's been official, I made it a year.
Yay!
Get fired.
Okay, well, that deserves a clap.
Very impressive.
I know.
I knew you'd be impressed. And so I wanted to just kind of go over what we accomplished in the last year and kind of what we're thinking about for next year.
Okay.
So, if I click the right button, no, let me go down. No, oh my goodness.
What are you doing?
He's fixing to launch a different something.
There you go.
First time in the big city.
This one? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you.
Thank you. All right, so when we came in, we had some challenges, we needed to, work on. And some of that, we had to really kind of strip things down and relay a foundation. The biggest thing was the team building, because in my opinion, having a great team is the most important thing. We can do anything with a great team.
Right.
Yes, and you even taught me that. You know, and it's not just the team. Right now, we have probably we have a really well-balanced team. We just hired Mindy Henry, who she has her degree from
Oh, come on.
Sul Ross State
There
University.
you go.
How did I get it? In animal, what is it? Animal science.
Science,
That's what it
yes,
was, yeah, Animal science. She's got her certification, her national certification with the University of Missouri at Columbia, tons of training, management experience, and she's gonna really jump on board and start working with the life saving stuff. So she's gonna be going out and doing the adoption. She's already got tons of connections. She's already schooled me in Pet Point, the program, which I've used for years, and I'm like, you did what? Oh man, I'm so happy she's here, you know, so learning stuff, and she's great to have. Josh Jones, our other ACO, he's been in the business for about 3 years, mostly in kennels, but he is a problem-solving machine. So, you know, you give him a problem, he'll come up with the most creative, best ways to fix things, and he's gonna be an outstanding asset. And of course, we have Dakota, who is a rock. You know, he was here before I was, and he's always here. He's always going, and he's still growing and learning. And you know, right now we have an incredible team at the shelter. So as long as I don't run any of them off, and not only that, but I'm learning too the community and the both cities. it's been great, between, our advisory board, you guys have all been just outstanding, helping and learning all, helping come up with these ideas and helping push things through. And so I can understand how each city kind of thinks and the pulse of it. Getting to meet all the residents, and it's, and everybody wants it to be better. It's been incredible. So it's been easy. I'm so glad the Lord popped me in this spot. It's been great. So one of the other things besides team building, getting everything kind of organized together was having a shared endeavor. One of the first things I picked up on is Forest Hill didn't feel like we were servicing them equally. And honestly, I don't know if we were. So, that was one of the big things. Changing to municipal animal services was a genius idea. And so when we, even the phone, when we answer the phone, the municipal animal services servicing Forest Hill and Everman, Texas, we make sure we put that in every single one. And so everybody, everybody feels equal. And over this past year, it feels like we've got there, between all the different things we did. The coffee with the mayor has actually been very helpful. I got to meet the people who were sometimes the most upset. The first meeting was like, oh my goodness, what did we walk into? And the second meeting, it was great. Everybody seemed happier. So.
And it was good for me because I could say, there they are.
Yeah.
And it worked out. It worked
out.
out that way.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
It's been great. So we really kind of worked through that. Working, of course, I already talked about working with the community, working with both communities, getting to know the residents, getting to know, all the stakeholders. And that's been a lot of fun because everybody's very nice. I've only been flipped off by one citizen. So
That's pretty good.
That's like awesome.
Was it in Forest Hill or Everman?
No, it's me.
Come on. No, it's that swatch in between our cities.
There you go. Plead the fifth.
And of course, with the advisory board, the things that we've done, getting the mission statement so we're all on the same page, and working towards those ordinances, and I'm forgetting something, but I know we've done a bunch. Getting us all together. I love it that we have people on the advisory board from both cities.
Yeah.
It's great. So we're all communicating and talking together. So it's been really, really great. The most important thing that we're working towards, a new shelter.
Oh, yes.
Duh. So,
How we doing on that?
actually, we turned in some things and we're making progress. That thing is thick.
And
That is thick.
for Jimmy that's just visiting, they're applying for a grant. They own the property and Everman's applying for a grant for a new animal, like state-of-the-art animal shelter. And that's what they're talking about. They're in the first stages.
Yeah,
Do
and
they
we
have a
the
projection
designs.
open date yet?
Hmm?
Do they have a projection open date?
Not yet, so I don't wanna get too much into the weeds in politics, but obviously there's been a change in administration. And with all the many changes that are going to be occurring, we're not quite sure how this will impact grant funding and to what extent it would impact grant funding and whether or not there's gonna be a hold put on those grants or not. We know that there are gonna be certain grants that will have complete full stops on them, but I don't know to what extent in the Department of Ag, which is the grant that we're pursuing. Typically, the Department of Agriculture is pretty solid. Funding is usually pretty solid through them, so we're hopeful it continues, and we can get through that. But with the change in administration, there's just no guarantee. However, my fallback plan is to incorporate this. We are currently working on our capital improvement plan update. And we are working on our bond schedule for upcoming bond packages. So even if we can't get a grant, we have got to get a new shelter. That's been shouted from the rooftops, from this board, the previous board, from council. Everybody is in line with I think that's the top priority as far as city facilities go. So I would expect and anticipate the capital improvement committee and the city council to put both those on the bond package for what will likely be our 2027 bond package. So coming up pretty quickly if this grant does not go through. So we're probably in all in all reality, once you consider grant review, approval, and then you go through the RFP or design build process, and then the process of funding, and then construction, we're probably in all reality 2 to 3 years from an open date. I think regardless of which path we take. Cause it'll be 7, 8, 9 months to a year, just, once we have funding, just to,
Right.
get the design build process done, RFPs, through construction. That alone will take almost a year.
Right.
Yeah, but we're this close to it.
Right.
In the past, we've said, oh gee, we need a new shelter, and that's as far as it went.
We have a great concept design. We've got cost associated with the proposed shelter. We're looking at close to $2 million is what the funding requirement would be for that. We've got property, acquisition already taken care of, so that's a step ahead. So yes, we are very close. We just need to nail down how we're gonna fund it.
Yeah.
Once we nail down how we're gonna fund it, we can start moving really quick.
Yeah, that's been the problem from the very beginning.
Yeah.
How we pay this, how we pay for this, right?
I think we're further though,
Yeah.
definitely further in the process.
Well, we actually can see some light at the end of the tunnel now.
Well, and many of the
Goes on,
steps
right?
that this board has taken is really what's helped with the grant funding, because there are so many things that have had to happen at this level before he could even complete what he did complete as far as the application goes to the Department of Ag. A couple of public hearings and stuff we're getting ready to hold this coming year to meet the other requirements and stuff, but we're rocking with it as best as we can.
Well, the current facility was made or updated, it might have been a shack, from the money that was left over from building the police department and the new library in 2002, 2000, in that timeframe. So that poor thing has been there that long. And then we've made upgrades to it, but not to the building itself, and so it's an orphan.
We made upgrades to the shack.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, shack on a shack.
Yeah.
I mean, and so, let's just say everything goes through, will that still exist as a runover?
Oh, where we added off to the side back there?
Well, no, like,
Shack.
Very unlikely, because I'll tell you, as a part of the financial model that we're using,
it's to,
we're looking to sell that land off and use proceeds to help fund the new shelter.
gotcha.
The location of it is
So, just
it's
say,
horrible.
there's my
Yeah.
language.
It's just a very poor location.
Inaccessible.
Yeah.
And nobody knows it's there.
Well,
There's a sign.
we have some residential neighbors back there, and they're just not pleased.
It's kind of one of those areas you go into and you wonder, where are you going? What is this?
Yeah. You hear banjo music.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we
Yeah.
there yet?
Am I in the right, am I in the right
Are we
place?
there yet?
So
There yet.
The
What's-
property
what's out
probably
there?
has more value as far as selling it and using those
Yeah.
proceeds to help offset the cost of a new shelter, so.
Cool. Okay, sorry, to the
And
side.
that, we'd have to staff 2 buildings and.
Yes,
For the upkeep alone.
Oh, yeah. No.
And I think the shelter concept design that we've got is pretty
Yeah.
oversized, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, we're gonna have 30, what we have right now is 30, regular dog runs, cat rooms, quarantine room. We have 2, exam rooms where we can do for intakes, sally port. Of course, we have the freezer room, and then we have a really nice, entry when you walk in, so for customers, it's gonna feel very welcoming and instead of, I hope I live to go get through this. I swear I saw, we had a girl come down there, she came down, she just looked terrified, because she was younger. And I mean, I felt terrible for her, so I made sure she left with a dog, a leash, a collar.
Walk her out to the car.
Yeah, walk her to the car.
Don't you also have a room for when they wanna come visit with you?
Yes, a meet and greet room,
That's
we
it,
have
that's it.
play yards.
Very nice.
It's gonna be indoor, outdoor kennels, so they should be, quicker cleaning, it's going to be really nice.
Well, the updates of shelters today is a lot different than they were 30 years ago.
Mhm.
30 years ago, you just dumped the dogs,
Yeah.
you were done. Now, they're animals of family, they're family pets, they're considered that, they're part of your, like when one passes away, it really hits the family hard.
Yeah.
So I think the cities and the council people are realizing today, they need to be more appeasing to the community. I found that out where I started back 36 years ago in Arlington, out on the west side there, I'm sure you know where that old shelter was. it seems like they always put the old shelters out, or the shelters out on the edge of town, not in town.
Yes.
Well, and that's another good talking point, because when we were talking about the shelter, where we're looking to put it, is on a major thoroughfare.
Right.
And it's immediately adjacent to some businesses, immediately adjacent to schools and some houses. So you've got to think about, the sound and noise, and we thought about that in construction, so we've asked, for soundproof insulation on the building, on the construction, to make sure that overnight while the dogs are inside, if they're barking, we don't have neighbors that are upset or calling. We're not deterring development in the area, but it's still up front and center to hopefully attract a higher adoption rate,
Right.
and get people in the door.
But when you have a shelter that has more appeasing, parts to it, you're gonna have more adoptions, you're gonna have more people wanna come, because I've had people tell me over the years, I can't go in there. I don't wanna go in there, I don't wanna hear them, So when you cater to the public the right way, you're gonna get more. It's gonna be more positive.
I think so too. Excellent.
Okay.
What do you got?
Okay, I swear I pressed clicked the right button. Oh, there it goes, okay. Talking about just having a safe and clean shelter. This is the area that we had that was outside. It is now totally enclosed. And of course, I didn't get the enclosed picture in there because we're actually doing a little bit more work inside. But instead of having 3 runs outside where they were just hooked up with fans, now they're enclosed inside. We have 6 runs, so we have a legal quarantine back there. And we also have the room for overflow. So it'll help us hopefully hold a few more animals if we have to here and there. When we first came, the animals were they were keeping animals with some unsafe behaviors, bite animals and those kind of things. There was a lot of overcrowding, which caused some injuries. And so that was one of the first things we took care of, because safety of staff is paramount, and then the safety of the other animals, is real important. So we did have it didn't always smell pleasant, and they had some insect issues and stuff, but we have that all under control now. When people walk in, they say they don't smell dogs, and that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. So, so it's really done well, and the closing of that back area has been so helpful. And it's climate controlled. We have air and heat in there, so now the dogs aren't outside in the heat. So they're being, for these next 2 to 3 years, they're going to be taken care of very well back there.
So at this time, you don't have a rabies quarantine facility?
Yeah, that is our quarantine
That's
back
for
there.
rabies control?
We passed the state inspection with 100%.
And the new shelter, I'm sure is gonna have.
Yeah, the new shelter will have a quarantine. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
It's got 2, one specific for cats and one specific for dogs, so we've got two quarantine rooms.
Good.
I had to get a couple charts.
Okay, wouldn't be you if we didn't have charts.
Thank you. I have to have,
That's right.
You don't know the half of it.
Anyway, another one of the big foundational things we wanted to do is make sure we were implementing industry standards, the animal services industry standards. Like Alan was saying, things have come a long way, and we're watching these things. People want to know where we at. They want the statistics. They want to know that we're doing our job. Back in the day, it was out of sight, out of mind. No one's complaining. You don't care, but as communities, we care about our pets. We care about what happens. So, starting with the live release rate, the 2023 was 82% live release rate, and ours was 82% as well. So it remained the same, which I'm going to tell you why it's actually really good that it happened that way. But the first thing is the dog average length of stay. The dogs were staying there on average 30 days in the shelter. And so that plugs up 9 cages real fast. So that's why they had the overcrowding and the issue. We got it down to just under 7 days, was the average time that they stayed there.
While maintaining the same.
While maintaining the same live release rate.
2 years.
Cat live release rate, our length of stay, the average was 14 days, which they average, on average, a cat would stay there 2 weeks. Now they're staying there on average just under 5 days.
Good.
And still maintaining that same 82%. Now we do have some issues with cats, but we have a plan to fix that.
Well, don't tell us until you come up with a plan.
Oh, I have
Just
no
kidding. We don't wanna know.
This is what's impressive to me. Our intake, we increased 102%
Oh
in
my
cats.
gosh.
And we increased 60% in dogs. We brought in 566 dogs versus 353. And we brought in 176 cats versus 87.
Holy
So
cow.
we've been out in the field, because there was a lot of problems out there that weren't taken care of in the past. And a lot of those animals that came in, especially the dogs, were not the nicest dogs, so they've been running the street for 2 years. So they weren't the
They were
nicest
wild,
dogs, yeah.
yeah.
So keeping that live release rate at 82%, I'm really proud of how hard they worked and got that done.
Mary, year over year, are you seeing a reduction in complaints in Forest Hill?
I have, there was, as he was saying, but he caught them, there was a group of dogs off of Independence that were there, they were there regularly and they were aggressive and we got them. We actually got them, so yes, I've actually seen a big change in Forest Hill.
And
Have you
we've seen a
done-
pretty, I think we've seen a pretty dramatic reduction in complaints about
I think s-
unaddressed issues, not
yes.
complaints about animal control
Right.
operations, but just complaints about animals overall.
I haven't gotten any and.
So I think you guys are being a lot more proactive, that's good to see.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
For the better.
Yes, absolutely. I was gonna ask about cats, cause I'm like,
Yeah, cats are really going up.
is it because they're,
And we're not even trapping them.
how are you getting them?
People trap them, and then we can get them out.
So are we, Fort Worth does that,
DNR,
yeah,
that's what I'm looking at.
so I think, okay, well, we'll talk
I have a
about that
meeting,
later.
I have a meeting with Best Friends, coming up, and they give grants for that stuff. So I'm
Oh.
I'm working towards getting a grant where they're gonna give me equipment.
Okay,
There's no guarantees of this, but they're really good about giving money for TNR. Equipment and, to pay for the TNR. And then we wanna set it up to where on Thursdays, I have all the staff there, where we're gonna start taking animals and taking the cats and start working on that program.
oh, that's
What's a
good.
TNR?
It's trap, neuter, return.
Everybody,
That's what.
So that way too, then when we go out, the cats that have the ear tips, we're gonna leave them.
Yeah.
Because they're keeping the other cats away. How TNR basically works in a nutshell, it's like the wild animals. If you pull an animal out, it creates a vacuum. If there's food, water, and shelter, you'll have wild animals.
Somebody else.
I tell the ladies out in the, when they're explaining this, I go, it's just like a man. If you have food, water, shelter, we won't leave. So-
What else is there?
Is that all right?
Food consists of a population of rats as well.
Yes,
That's
yes.
considered,
Rats,
bugs and
possums,
rats,
skunks.
yeah, that's considered food for cats.
Mm-hmm.
So there are areas that have that they keep it down.
Yeah.
They actually keep the rat control under control while they mark their territory and keep other cats away. So it is a good program.
And the biggest issue with TNR is education.
Yeah,
You have got to educate the public on how it works
Mhm.
and why it will work.
right.
They just look at the fact, I want that nuisance gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Gone. Well, you gotta explain why when you take the cat out of that area,
You're gonna.
what's gonna happen
Yes.
in return.
Yeah.
You're gonna have that many more come back.
Mhm.
And same way we try to teach them with possums and raccoons. If you leave them alone, they're gonna go off unless they're getting into your house or unless they're causing a major
Unless you're
health
feeding them.
nuisance. The possums are actually beneficial to you because they kill a lot of the insects that you're having problems with.
True.
So that's why you don't really wanna trap those unless you absolutely have to.
Well, I've noticed since they've been building around us now, Shelby and over on
You
Forest Hill
have.
too, mice. Up in
Yes,
those fields.
yes, and that's what those cats are good for.
And the TNR program also is helpful if you have a lot of people that's got barns, that's still in the area, which I know this is still country. There's probably people that still got a lot of barns, barn cat.
Yeah.
That helps keep their rat population down from getting into their feed that's
Yes.
horses and cows and stuff.
Okay, cool. Very good. Let's do that.
And just in case somebody comes up and asks you since you're on the board, it's just coyote mating season, so from January to the end of February, you will see more coyotes.
I saw one, we just did the Waffle House. Grand opening, and I just happened to look across the field and it was one running and it was going towards Fort Worth, and I said, they're back this time of season always.
They travel for miles just
Oh,
to
yeah.
visit us.
Especially in the creek area.
Yeah,
Yeah, my-
they run our creek.
On my game cams, down at our farm, oh my God, I haven't seen deer in 3 weeks, but you see
I've seen coyotes.
coyotes.
Sure, the coyotes used to come to the water tower. You'd hear them howling. It was wonderful.
You can.
Yeah, I love listening to them sing, but when they get too close to the house, the cats.
Then they die.
Okay.
Okay.
You click and look over here, because I think you that was Zoom for. There you go.
Okay, there you go. Okay, just some final other things. Outcomes was the big thing, and you guys brought it up, you hit it right on the nail, talking about the new shelter. Adoptions in 2023 was 162, and we were at 57. So our adoptions crashed. But our transfers and building that transfer network skyrocketed from 79 to 334. So we really are working with rescue groups, and we have a really good network. And coming back to teams, we have a network team, and we have two ladies who do the networking. In fact, we worked out a deal after they threatened to throat punch me and all kinds of stuff. I love them to death. They're awesome. I swear, they're awesome. And we worked out a deal. So I let them know as soon as they come in, I'm sending them a picture where we picked it up, the sex of it and everything, and they're hitting social networks saying, hey, is anybody looking for this dog? And they're getting them on Pet Finder. And then as soon as they know when they become available, and they're hitting them to rescues, and that's how we're getting that. That's got a lot of our movement. So our volunteers have been incredible, and they're really super nice. The other thing that went way up is they had in 2023 there's 54 returned owners. That's where they picked them up and found the owners. We got 162. Our guys are going out there scanning the dogs in the field. If they find a chip, we're looking it up. We're trying to not even bring them into the shelter. So, which comes back to the ordinance and microchip, adding the microchipping into it, which that can even increase more. Because if we can keep them out of the shelter, we can do a lot more.
And people are starting to know the shelter's there now.
Mhm.
Before, nobody knew where it was. In our community now, they're starting to realize that we do have a shelter.
Excellent.
Okay, and then kind of, these were my thoughts for next year, kind of now that we have that foundation, what we want to get going. Of course, we want to finish the ordinance completion. We'd really like to get that going, so we get it going. Our volunteer program, we have a.
While you're on the ordinance completion, I think Venus has a copy of the ordinance. Oh, you got it. Okay, perfect. I think she was working.
I got it
So-
from Ray, thankfully. I said, well, I need to see it before we
So I think our plan is, because we had it on our last council meeting just for discussion. My council likes to review things before just throwing it in front of them, so we did that. But I don't think we're gonna bring it back to them for adoption at the next council meeting this
let
month.
us know that.
I think we're gonna let you go next. That way, if there are any changes that come out of that meeting, we can amend it before we put it back, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because I think overall, our council has been pretty pleased with it. I haven't heard any feedback so far.
You don't know how long it might be before it goes into effect.
If
Ours
their
is on
meeting
the
is,
4th.
yeah, 4th, ours will be the following week, so February, what is that, 12th, 11th?
Well, ours will go into effect on the 4th, and then theirs will go to effect the next week, so by mid-February, they both,
11th is our.
by mid-February.
Pretty good.
That will help tremendously.
Absolutely.
We also, the volunteer program, we have a handbook now, we're working on getting the process, so we wanna have, the volunteers who are doing the networking. One, I wanna get data showing how much work they do, because they really do a lot of work. But we wanna have a network team, we wanna have, when we get that mobile adoption unit out, we wanna have a volunteer group that's helping do the adoptions. We want, of course, dog walkers, the ones who are gonna help do the adoptions. We're trying to figure out if we can get donated a dog washing station, so we can bring out good smelling dogs that look really cute, you know.
Hmm.
This is where I lack the skill, but the rest of the team has the skill, so it's good.
What's
I'm
the
not good at dressing the
update
dog.
status on the adoption code?
The adoption trailer, yes, the end of February, or sometime in March.
You'll have it.
That's what they said, but they also said I'd have it in,
December.
yeah, December. Then they said I'd have it in January.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to be a thorn in the side without making a,
An indention.
yeah.
And then we have to get the stickers on it, to get it right.
Right.
Which will bring that logo back to this board for approval before we just slap whatever we want on there. Because we talked about it, we want it to be highly visible,
Right.
very attractive,
Right.
very colorful, and then representative of both cities, municipal animal services. So.
Yep.
But we want it to scream attention as best as possible.
Get a big fat head of him.
Hey, that'll do it. That'll do it.
Just short of Scooby-Doo's LSD trips, right?
Yeah.
We want visibility,
The
right?
more colorful, the brighter, you know, because we want that thing, especially, I mean, we're gonna abuse the heck out of Forest Hill, because especially if we're gonna park this thing anywhere off that interstate, we want people to see it on the
And
interstate.
we have City
come
Hall
off the interstate
right
and
off
come-
the interstate.
Yeah. I mean, we wanna bring people to it,
Right.
so.
Yes.
Yep, and it's gonna be really nice, cause we're gonna get there's gonna be the rollout grass so that you walk out with them, we have the shades, we have all
You definitely need those two.
the
They
shades.
can go get the new
Experience.
Waffle House and stuff while they're visiting it.
When it's 110 degrees out, if you're gonna be out, or it's even 80 and humidity's the way it is in Texas, that concrete gets real hot, and then also you want some sun, shade over that. We learned that back in our day. We went out without those two items. We learned quickly we needed those two items, so, yes. And it helps the animals. I don't think they're as stressed as they
Oh,
are.
yeah, their feet are burning. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So the volunteer program, I can't do this, yeah, I think that's everything, dog walkers. So we basically wanna get a really solid group of 12. That's my goal, is 12 volunteers that are just, you know, big part of the team. And then,
So, I have a quick question, sorry, just came to me. So we had this, okay, tell what the volunteers, I know you said walking dogs, what is required of the volunteers?
right now, they're gonna have, there's a book that they basically sign saying what the rules are. If one thing I've learned in my career was most volunteers are really good, but every once in a while you have to get rid of one. And so you need to make sure you have everything in place if you have to.
So can I get a copy of what they signed?
Oh, absolutely.
And then they have to be a minimal age, is there a certain age group?
Yeah, they gotta be at least 18.
Okay,
Yeah, and I get a lot of kids from the high school that wanna come down and help, but liability wise.
there's nothing they can do?
Very, very little, because we have to keep in mind, so TML has to insure them essentially. And so that's where we have to make sure that our policy will cover them. And right now, our policy doesn't cover anybody under the age of 18.
So even if, once we get the adoption vehicle, is there something for minors to do when we go out to locations? Is there a way we could develop something that they could do, maybe help with paperwork or something? I mean, is there something maybe we could figure out to get some of these youth involved?
It's probably a Susan question we need to take up with TML to see let's take that to Susan.
Or could it be?
I just wanna make sure that,
Something.
because any volunteer that works for the city, they get covered automatically in our volunteer coverage policy.
We
but
signed a
it-
waiver, they don't.
It only covers them if they're over 18 and they have to be registered with the city. But there may be some other legal ways. We can ask Victoria this too, and see if they want to volunteer, can their parent or guardian sign a waiver
Waiver.
authorizing them to? And then I think we just allow them to help in limited capacities. Hey, you want to come help with the adoptions? Here's a sign and stand out there and
Or
dance, you
here's
know.
some
or-
paperwork that you.
Yeah.
You can basically only be clerical or not.
Yeah, we want to be careful when they're
Like legally,
interacting
they're
with
not
the animals.
Oh, no, I was talking about like paperwork
Oh,
or.
Well, yeah.
Things like
Or
that.
could it be if a parent
Sign
wanted
to
to
All right.
Minor,
volunteer, like parent volunteers also with the minor, so the minor can get.
We'll
There's
check, but
several
I
options on it.
expect that TMO is probably gonna say you're gonna need a waiver. Which, you know, if the parents are willing to sign a waiver of liability and so forth, then sure.
I just would like to see what, we could come up with to let them volunteer to get their hours, because
Right.
you're right, there's a lot of students that want to do something with the animals, and maybe we can come up with an area that maybe they can do our social media, I don't know, they're so good at it.
Yeah,
That, there's bound to be something we can get our kids
And
involved
they
in.
keep seeing them with the animals,
Well, yeah.
kids and stuff, that'd be a cute
There's
thing.
one other option, I don't know if y'all looked at, that, it's kind of like volunteer, but it has to do with the, working with the sheriff's department, having inmates that are non-violent, major criminal that is, to come out and clean the shelter, help with the shelter. You know, some there, they work their time off doing that, or people that has community service. Is there a way of working that into the program to work? 'Cause I know in other shelters, they use community service, people to come work off citations or whatever it is they've got, to clean kennels, walk the animals. In other words, you're getting the service that you need, and they're getting the hours that they need. Is that something y'all have looked at or can look at?
Cause you
I
can move
want
the
to look
animal and then they could clean and then you can put the animal back in.
I think now with the staffing model we have, it'd be a lot easier to do. Whereas before, I think it would have been a little bit of a struggle because it was difficult to manage that.
Well, maybe not so much now at the old shelter, but when the new shelter
Yeah,
gets,
for sure.
gets up and
Yeah.
running.
We even talked about, there's a volunteer room in there, in the new shelter, right? In there, did we, the break room? Yeah, we got a volunteer break room in the new shelter, for them as well,
And as
so.
Ray said, some you will have to kick out because they're not gonna do what they're supposed to do, or they're just there thinking they're gonna get free hours. You know, you gotta have that program worked out however you want it, but I've found that it has worked in the past at different shelters. And it's really helped with the hours that we needed for manpower that we couldn't afford to pay, budget wise.
In other words, no more people, no more personnel.
Yeah.
Cut that out, cut that
Don't
out.
worry about that.
That's a dream.
Trying to get you a shelter, sir.
You want shelter or you want people?
And one last thing I'll say on the volunteers too, I'm sure y'all do this, or maybe haven't yet, but you will. Always appreciate the volunteers, show them appreciation, you know, luncheon or something once in a while, because you'll get more out of them when you show the appreciation to them. I've learned that.
Absolutely.
We invite them all to our gala now, which everybody here should have got an invite. Did y'all?
To what now?
To the gala.
What gala?
I did today, but
Saturday,
You not get it?
it's coming up Saturday, the 25th. I got
Oh,
Unless you send it to me in email, I haven't seen
In our
it.
email.
I did,
Oh,
I
okay.
got
Was
one.
that for someone ahead of you?
we sent it to all of our boards and commissions too.
You should have done it.
Okay, this apparently is my bad. I am sorry.
So we have our City of Everman Gala this Saturday,
Okay.
at 6 o'clock here, if you guys would like to come, you're more than welcome to. You're welcome to bring a guest too, it's completely free, it is formal, but we'll have, we do recognitions, awards. We have live music this year that'll be performing, and then a DJ following the awards ceremony, so it's just a good time, good dinner.
It is a lot of fun. The first time I did it, I've been here for 2 whole weeks and I had a blast.
So you forgot about it because you didn't have the graphs to go with it.
That's what it was.
That's
If
it.
it doesn't have a graph, it doesn't
An old
exist.
bar chart.
Okay, moving on.
You want pie charts.
I can do that.
Yeah, but not right now, let's.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, all right, I'll get back on track. That basically talking about getting animal services seen in with the mobile adoption unit, that's gonna happen a lot. We wanna start leveraging technology more, we wanna utilize technology, social media, GPS mapping, and of course, Pet Point, the things that I'm talking about regarding making progress there, so. Of course, we want to continue to make progress towards our new animal shelter, increase the, this was a big thing, I want to increase neighborhood animal control presence. Now I got the 2 guys, I have Mindy's gonna be covering when I'm not there, and when I'm there, so we got somebody in the shelter. So these guys, I want to start having them out in the field more. And they're gonna be out there not only, running the calls when people complain, but we're gonna hopefully get the dogs that we see that we drive by. when we're going to the ones that complain and educating and getting these things out. And if the ordinance goes through and everything happens, the way I'm hoping it'll happen, when we go up there, we educate, we're gonna have a sheet and all the things that, they need to fix. And I wanna, if the officer's comfortable, microchip them right then and there for the first year, just get everybody microchipped. That's my goal I wanna get out. But when people see the vehicles in the street, and whether their dogs are out or not, they're gonna be thinking twice. So, we're hoping, that's gonna be something that we're really pushing through. You're gonna see those guys in the photos more. And I've already talked about it, microchip and vaccination clinics. When we're not doing adoption clinics, we're gonna use that mobile unit to do vaccinations and microchips in neighborhoods. And we're gonna go to the places where we're having the most problems, to start with, and just start getting everybody done.
I think the vaccination idea is a great idea, because you have to make an appointment and take your pet to the vet, and then you pay an office fee and this and that, and it's $200 by the time you get your animal one shot. And that's one of the reasons people don't do it. It's time consuming and it's expensive.
Yeah, and now we can only do, and Mindy has a connection to where we get the vaccinations for free if we're doing them in the community. We can't do rabies shots unless we have a vet. So,
Not that you're.
You give me another vet, I'll help you out.
I got a pie chart.
I have not
that says
accepted- I haven't accepted a new client in 6 months, because we're at 15,000 patients, it's just me.
Oh,
Yeah.
you need some volunteers.
Well, you can sit there and sleep,
so
we
the-
can do the
In
shot.
human medicine, you can have nurse practitioners and they're not allowed to in veterinary medicine.
Oh.
Like a assistant can't even get a rabies shot.
Even if you're on property?
It's
It's
a gray area.
Okay, so I have a question.
I understand.
I'm,
I'm gonna get out of that gray area and go.
thank you.
So with the vaccinations, can volunteers be taught to do the vaccinations other than the rabies? And so if we did a microchip vaccination clinic, that we could have trained volunteers that could help with those vaccinations? I mean, I give people shots. I mean, can I give a dog shot?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, vet techs can for sure. Obviously, ACOs can. It's just,
But where volunteers are really helpful is in the lines and having people keep their dogs on a leash.
And their paperwork.
And getting paperwork. and doing those
But I
things.
was thinking if we had 6 volunteers that were trained to do vaccinations or the microchipping as well, it would help us not to have to rely on other organizations maybe per se.
yeah, something we have to look at, we probably have to do like an organized training session. And
Sometimes, it looks to me like they have to be certified somehow or something.
Yeah, some kind of way.
because that would also go back to legal as far as liability.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, the certain vaccines, if you're close to the nerve back there and you're off a little bit
Mhm.
and the dog goes 3-legged lame because of neuropathy.
Yeah, and plus, I had to say this, but as a pet owner, I'd be go, let me see your certificate. I wanna make sure you can do.
But I think if there's a way to get them certified, that would help us out and benefit us. And they're volunteers, they're not charging us to do these clinics.
Basic function of the day,
Basic ACO.
basic ACO. 12 hours.
I mean, I give people shots, I mean, surely I can give a dog a shot. Except for guys.
It's
I
the
think
cats
they're
that are hard.
Um,
Well, certain dogs that, you get some rambunctious dogs that.
So there's a possibility to do that course maybe? I don't know, we'll, it's,
But it, it wouldn't be a bad idea maybe if every quarter or biannual or semi-annual, that, you offer, that training, if there's some way we could get and that way all your volunteers are also.
That's what I'm thinking, is that, do you know of anywhere that's done a basic, a volunteer animal control officer program? where you have volunteers that serve as animal control officers,
I wonder
certified
if we
and
can
trained.
start it.
No, but before I left Arlington, I was actually in the process of doing that, having a.
I mean, we've done it in the fire
Reserve.
service for
Yeah.
ever and a day.
So wonder if we
Like a
can create
reserve.
our own.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
saying reserve program.
Well, your pig catching skills, you're already on.
No, FYI, we're going to rake the leaves in her yard, on Friday, tomorrow. And she still mentions, don't bring any pigs with you. I'm like, we're not.
I mean, for the reserve thing you're talking about, I'm sure it could be done as a reserve officer. You're just not paying them to do the job, but you pay.
That's like a volunteer fire department.
Right, the city would pay for the actual
Yeah.
credentials to get the credentials.
And that would actually put us in a position that other cities might use our force. If we could figure out how to get it done, then we could offer that and make money that could go
Well,
towards
that's
our
what I-
animal control.
That's what I was thinking, is you do it, you set it up here,
Mhm.
and you pay.
Just like
you-
CPR
You pay the
or
basic
those
fee, and then you pass the cost on to other municipalities.
But then the certification would be limited to working with an ACO, certified ACO, or something that you couldn't just start your business in your backyard some type of way. But it would be limited to working with a department, and I would assume that the other cities would use us to get
It
certified.
would come in handy too if you have a big cruelty situation where you need extra hands
Yeah,
to
we're like, yeah,
go, impound or to,
I'd almost have
whatever
to
you
say,
need to
it'd
do
have to be
on the
working with
scene
the
to
vet,
get the animals that are
not just
being,
ACO.
seized by
Come
the
here,
city,
baby.
or by the animal services. That would help, because I know a lot of times if you're a small city, you have to call in another agency sometimes to help you if you have a hoarding situation.
Yeah, right.
A hoarding situation where you have, say, 50 or more animals, you gotta go out and pick up.
That's it.
yeah, like that one we
Are
had.
you don't work on Sundays, right?
Oh, yeah, like a little dog. So that's another good thing is I now have a connection with the SPCA, who, we have a cruelty that they're doing a necropsy on the dog for us right now. And HSNT has helped me out with a couple things, and now we're gonna actually go help them with something on Monday. So we're starting to build relationships with other organizations around us now, so, because it's gonna happen, we're gonna have something big happen.
Yeah.
And we need each other's help.
As this city area grows,
Mhm.
I've noticed you got a lot of new houses being built down here. As it grows, you're gonna be having more animal issues.
Yes.
People don't think they do, but as your city grows, trust me, you will get more animal issues.
Fastest growing area in the country, not the state, the country.
Really?
So I have a
Southern
quick
Kern
question.
County, right around here.
So on Sunday, I noticed that there is an organization that sets up, they used to set up where PLS is on the corner of Wichita and Mansfield Highway. But for some reason, they've moved down to where the Dollar General, Metro PCS, all that is. You'll see a empty cargo box, something there. I'm wondering, and they have a lot of volunteers that come out and do the vaccinations. I'm wondering if we can get some information from them and find out who are all, because I know those are not all staff. There's no way those are all staff, not on a Sunday, and, I'm curious if we can figure out how they allow them to do it. Or if there's a certification program that they have that we can use maybe.
I will definitely look into, there's gotta be, I know there's vet tech programs. So maybe there's something we can merge.
Maybe we can get an animal control tech program together.
Actually, we could probably, okay, yeah, my mind's like.
There you go. I think of you do.
Okay, I'll get back on track now, okay. I think increase live, we definitely wanna increase that live release rate to healthy adoptable animals to 100%. And just, from October now, cause now we have a tier system, we're doing that. So, but overall, I'd really like to get our live release rate up to at least 90%.
Yeah.
Ideally, but that number's not more important to me than, than keeping unsafe animals out of people's houses. I don't wanna ever adopt out something that's going to
Good job.
hurt somebody. All right, and I know that this is in here just because it's cool.
What is it?
This is,
Drone feels good.
okay, so this is a problem dog we have. You'll hear, right there's a pop. You can't really see. Oh, there it goes. And then you see that right there? So we lost the dog in that heavily wooded area. PD brought out a drone with thermal and we found it. And of course, now I have a young guy backing over the fence to go get the dog.
I was fixing to say, he got you a drone,
No, he hasn't got me a drone yet.
did he ask for the helicopter yet?
Yeah, no, one of the police officers brought the drone out with the thermal, and otherwise we would have never found it in that thick brush back there.
But has he asked for the helicopter yet?
No, I haven't asked for the helicopter
You
yet.
mean to use it or have one? Okay, so,
Anyway.
Back in the day, every time they'd ask, what do we need for equipment? They'd say, a helicopter.
So you need to set you up a reality TV show kind of today.
There you go, yeah, we can have a great time.
So how many
Real
dogs,
life animal
how many
control.
dogs and stuff do we have now, right now?
Right now in the shelter, we have six
6 what?
dogs, 0 cats.
That's a good week.
That's great.
That's a good week.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't wanna jinx, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanna ask a question about the, that little black tannish dog that you caught finally in Forest Hill, and it was with that brown lab looking dog.
Oh,
Did y'all
yeah,
ever,
that was, the brown dog was the one you saw that I darted.
you know, those two dogs tried to eat my Gus when we were walking
Oh,
one
I
day.
can
That was
imagine.
the ones I called you about, that they chased us and I had to hide behind a trash truck. They tried, my Gus is like 3 pounds, and I'm gonna take him to the shelter to teach him a lesson, cause he's not listening to me. But anyway,
You got short hair disease.
So you got that dog in the
I
bed.
know it, Jimmy's always like,
Little puppy.
but, okay, so that was the dog you
That was the
finally
two
got.
dogs we got.
Oh
we
my
got them both.
gosh.
I had to dart them both because they had such a huge territory. One of them had a chip and somebody had adopted it and lived on the other side of Forestville. And she goes, I lost that like a week after I got it and I could never find it again.
Right.
And
Yeah,
she
And I'm
lived
sure
in
she
the
worked really
field.
hard to find it.
Yeah, that dog was out there, but and she told me when she adopted it, and literally, I know for sure that dog went out there for a year.
Oh,
And that other one, I've been getting complaints forever, but I could never track them down because they kept going up that
In that
to
creek.
church.
yes,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the black and tan one lived in that property at the end right next to the church. And it lived there but the grass was so high I could hear it barking, but it would never come out when I walked up and down my street. But when it was with the brown dog, it literally came out after both of them, and it was a trash waste management truck driving, and I picked my dog up and slung around, and he got between us and had to walk me to my street, like that to the street. So thank God, I haven't walked again
That's-
because of that. So
That's
now
the
I
bad part, is
can't.
dogs like that will get a pack mentality.
Yep, yeah, yeah. He was definitely jumping fences and doing things he didn't have any business. But good,
See?
okay, good.
See, we're taking care of
Good,
business.
now I can walk again, our new sidewalk, hey.
Okay, I'm done.
How about, discussion of upcoming events and plans? Did you cover all that?
Yeah, I talked about the unit. Until we get the unit, it's gonna be hard to really do anything bigger, but every weekend, I've already talked to Mindy, I want it out every weekend. Of course, tornado, of course, not. And we're also trying to work a deal with Burleson, one of our volunteers, the 2 volunteers, she has a connection with PetSmart. And we should be able to set up there, and she thinks she's got a deal to where PetSmart will actually pay us for the dog we adopt.
Ooh,
So we're working on that too. That's in the process.
yay. Okay, next steps if ordinance is adopted.
Yes, that is, I just wanted to just reiterate the getting the ordinance so we can, it will help us enforce equally. It'll help, definitely help the officers that, so we're not, we're looking at, well, this city says the dog can, be outside if there's X, Y, Z, this city can't. It just, it'll be much
It's consistent.
consistent. Thank you. I couldn't it'll be a lot more consistent. And also, in both of our ordinances, and this is the case usually everywhere, is they get a little stale, because the business changes, just like Alan was talking about how different it is. It's also different, cities require microchips, and everybody's going to get away from city licenses, because nobody puts tags on. Do you know Texas has the cleanest dog in the entire world?
What do you mean?
And we know this because every dog comes into the shelter, we go, where's his tag? They go, oh, I just gave him back.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
So, yeah, tags, but the microchips, they, they can't, they're in there all the time. They might not update them, but at least it gives us a starting point where we can track people down.
How do you update a chip?
You call the company, tell them that you've moved, or,
And they can update it so the chip will reflect the
Yeah.
new information? I
So
did not know
the
that.
bad part is there's like, it's basically 8 to 10 national registers now, and I swear a new one pops up every week. The good thing is that the frequencies have gone pretty uniform, because 5 years ago, you'd have to have 8 different scanners.
Yes.
Right.
But now it's a universal frequency.
Good. Okay, so pretty much dog tags are a thing of the past.
yeah, they're
Going
becoming the
chips.
top, yeah, they're becoming the thing of the past. There's still a lot of cities that still have them.
What do you do about
and it's still
rabies
in the
tags?
law. Rabies tags are still required by law
Okay.
here. They're supposed to have the rabies tag.
And those are issued but only by a veterinarian.
Only by
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
So a question about the tags. So when you get the rabies shot, it's good for 3 years, but the tag says 22-23.
So there's a 4-year rotation of the shape and color.
Ah,
So you have the orange oval, the green bell, the blue flower, and the red heart. And those are rotated every 4 years. And that's actually for ACO purpose. If they see a dog running around and has,
an
A
old
red-
tag.
yeah, I can give you the years.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
I never knew
This
that.
is 30 years, I did not know that.
yeah, so like, cause you have to order your next year's rabies tags, and it's standard across
So if
across
they-
the country.
So if they got a
It's so
red
cool. That
one,
was a good question.
that red one, you count, how would
So
you
it's a
know?
4-year interval, so.
So if he sees a dog with the red and we're on the green tag, that means the red's expired?
No,
Well,
you
just-
get
Not
3 years on that
necessarily.
shot.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, because some municipalities still require it every year.
Yes.
Whereas up until, what was that, 7, 8 years ago, the state required it every year, and then they relaxed it to 3 years, but there were actually discussions in the Texas Animal Health Commission, because they're seeing a rising incidence of rabies. Because when it was every year, compliance was, 54% of total animals got rabies, and now that it's in 3 years, it's also like the upper 30s.
So what does our ordinance say? Do y'all remember?
Mine just
Uh,
got the
our
red heart
ordinance-
in July.
Yes, yeah, last year, and then,
I
and
tried
then
it
we're on,
with our ordinance, I
we're
copied
on
the
the
state
orange
law.
this year.
So we are, and then
Almost
July.
everything.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
was, that was for our discussion that we wanted
I
to
guess, yeah,
mirror.
It used to be once a year.
Typically what I do
It used to be once a year.
is,
But
if
it
you're
should
living
be-
in
Because you've talked
In a
about.
high-rise
it
in
should be
downtown
changed to
Fort
the
Worth,
state every
Yeah.
3
I think
years.
every 3 years. My dogs out here, they get one every year.
The first,
That's
the
five
first
or
shot
six.
we did should be good for you.
Yeah, but then I also use my.
Puppy shots are good
Too,
for
so.
Yeah,
And then it's
and
every
then
year.
after the year, you get your next shot.
2 years.
Yes, that's definitely.
Two so far.
Took her in and the vet said, oh, and she lost her tags on her collar. I'm like, dadgummit. So I went to get a new tag and she said, well, she's due for a new rabies shot, a 3-year one. So let's just wait, because I had other things. And so I took her back and got the tag, the new tag, and it said 23, 24 on it. And I went, that's a year, I get 3 years out of it. Oh, so it's color and shape.
So 2022 was the oval, 2023 was the bell, 24 was the heart, and then 25 was the rosette, which is the flower shaped.
I have the heart rate.
And that's the National
We're
Association.
just adopting what the state.
I wish it was a
Yeah,
little
just-
smaller.
That's all this is. So if the state changes, it automatically changes the awareness without having to go back.
Of course, I would.
Yeah.
A
That was your
little
guys'
dog, you know,
idea.
you take it.
That was good.
I take it, I
So
take
that
it
was
off
all
at
I
night
followed.
because
Yeah,
I thought,
right.
oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
sleep down
When you
there.
put following state law and the state law changes, it automatically changes your ordinance without you
That
having
vaccine,
to
I got
make
it
it.
every year,
Right.
good, but I don't, okay. She's in
So
the house,
of course, we
goes out
would
with me
look
and my
at
wife.
it to update,
All we have
but
to
we
do
don't have
is
to write
she's
a
back
new
in the
one.
house.
Right.
That's pretty
Not
much what
even really,
mine
because
does.
if it just says follow state
Well,
law,
it's
and
like
state
go
law
out and
changes, then it
Just-
automatically changes to
go
that
out
state
and
law,
sit
you
in the
don't even
sun
have to do
and
anything.
just lay there for a little
The
bit,
first.
and then it's like,
The
okay,
first.
Just refer to
Long
the state
time
law.
out, and they're out with me.
Yeah, and then I think after yeah, because it says to follow state law, and there's specifics in there, so it gives us the right to enforce.
I saw that.
You had said earlier you were working on the TNR thing, are you, is that in the ordinance? I don't remember seeing that. So is that gonna be
In
an
the
ordinance
ordinance, it's
or?
under, I kind of mirrors what the state law says basically under that it's, under the at-large or, dog or animals run loose. And it says exceptions or, animals that follow the TNR.
So is
How
that
would they
something
word it?
that y'all gonna start working on to do here in the two cities, or is that something y'all gonna start working on with councils to put into effect?
Yeah, if they accept the ordinance as is, and they're doing the TNR, yeah, we'll definitely. And, we'll have to do some case by case, because, as you know, in Arlington,
Right.
there's you're gonna get some neighborhoods. TNR works great until you get to the little old lady who has 50 cats.
Well,
And then we have to handle that one.
there's always an exception to the rule. There's gonna be an exception where you're gonna have to, like you said, that's not TNR. If there's 50 cats in the house, in and out of the house, and they're not,
That's nasty.
yeah, so,
Oh,
That's a cleaning.
and TNR is not where you're making pets out of. It's not there to make a pet or, I mean, a community cat, yes, everybody feeds it, it may come up to you, but more, 90% of the time, it's supposed to be where the cat runs from you. Comes gets food and runs off and goes and hides and whatever type deal. But I mean, that probably helped with the education part. You gotta do the education part. You mentioned earlier about the coffee with the mayor or whatever. That's something that's really good. I've heard here lately with other agencies. That's something you may want to continue. I find that the citizens like when they have one-on-one information and one-on-one personal.
They do.
And so in other words, I gotta call City Hall. I don't wanna call City Hall. I wanna talk to somebody face to face. And if you have more of that, I think you get more of your information out that you need to get out.
We do it quarterly
Yeah.
and Ray has always been
Right.
available and it really has worked out because when a resident will come in and say, I have a problem with an animal or I have a question with an animal, I'm like, there he is. And it's amazing, they're like shocked, oh, that's our animal control person.
Exactly.
So it really has benefited us in this, in a lot of areas.
Right, and also if you have like a town hall meeting type deal, where you can go, say you're having a problem with dogs, or dogs in the area, or whatever the problem may be. Call everybody together for, like in the community center for a community meeting, to discuss what the problem is, how we can get help from y'all, meaning citizens. Animal service can't do it on their own, they've gotta have help from the citizens. What are y'all doing? Are y'all feeding the animals? Are y'all, causing the problem? If you are, you need to work with us so we can get this problem solved, or the problem's gonna be there. It's not gonna stop.
Yeah, they have investment
Right,
in both the resolution and the.
right, exactly.
And that's why I love the mission statement that y'all came up with, because it starts off with working together. And I use that all the time with people. They're like, I want you to do this, this, and this. Well, here's what I can do to help you. Well, I've had people say, well, you're not even doing your job. Yes, I'm working with you.
I'm doing everything I can to help you.
Right,
Help you.
right.
'Cause I'm here to be a partner.
And not an adversary.
Right.
So Jimmy,
But I
what do
need
you
your
think?
help.
But I need
You might wanna do this? Okay.
Cool, aren't you glad you did?
Sure.
Yeah.
We're a fun group, right?
I'm working on it. That's good, man.
And Jimmy is very popular in our
Didn't
community.
leave the animals out.
I was gonna say, I think I seen you a coffee with the mayor. I couldn't
Yes, you did.
place you.
I
He
know.
was hanging with all the
Oh, okay.
ladies in the back.
That's, yeah.
It's very-
I just wanted to know, so I didn't know what everybody is. I just came in here. You are, sir?
I'm the city manager.
Okay.
Well,
so
tell him
I
that's
fixed that.
everybody.
Very good. Thanks for asking that question.
And you,
So
sir,
tell him your
I know
name.
who you are. That you.
So I'm Susie Mackey,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
Mayor Pro
I
Tem,
thought that's
also
what I
been on this thing since 2009.
Forever, yeah, forever.
We just love animals, right?
Right.
City council, yeah, go ahead.
Judy Sellers,
Yes,
I am on the city council,
Right,
but I'm a citizen on this.
right.
How's that?
And I'm Alan Pierce, I'm a retired ACO
Yes.
from Arlington.
Right.
And I'm also in the rescue group, handling the rescues for like cats and stuff with Bunny's Place. Which is in,
And I'm Dr. Reeves. I live right off Shelby Road, right here. And been in practice for 27 years, veterinarian.
Oh, we do
So-
have a veterinary, they said.
But,
And I'm Stephanie morning, Hannah. I'm the mayor of Forest.
Never
And
heard
we
of
would
you.
like to welcome you to our.
Hey, friend.
I'm Mindy Park, the city secretary.
I had it all.
He kind of figured.
She's taking
I'm
notes while
thinking
we're
that I've been in
talking.
Fort
So the-
Worth for 50 years.
I've seen you.
So the board is comprised very specifically, just so you know, the board's comprised very specifically by requirements of state law. So we have city council representatives, citizen representatives, we have to have an animal welfare organization representative, and then we have to have a veterinarian on here as well. So we get all the expertise brought on. And then, of course, Ray is actually a voting member of the board by law, because we have to have a member of the
This is
organization.
interesting. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. You see stuff getting done, but you don't know what all
You know,
the
and
text
here's
is.
what's amazing, what I tell people all the time is all these meetings are public. Anybody can come in off the streets anytime and
Right.
come and join our meetings and
Right.
pitch in. And I think if more people from the public got involved and actually attended or paid attention, they would be much more educated about what goes on, how
Right.
much work goes into what happens in the community.
I like that about the cats. You can't get rid of all the cats.
Yeah.
I mean, I never thought it like that, but it's true. You just can't. You do that, and you got to have them
Big
rats
vacuum,
run
right?
everywhere.
And the more we educate and hold coffee and tea with the mayors and put it in our newsletters and have people that attend the meetings and share that information, it really has toned down the lack of understanding, and it makes more sense to everybody, so it actually makes all of our jobs easier, so.
We also had found out back in the day, I don't know about the numbers today, because I'm not there anymore, but in Arlington, found out that the numbers for euthanasia went down on cats. When we went to TNR, because wildcats, feral cats, however you want to call them, people would call us, come get them, we bring them in the shelter, well, they're not adopted. They're not rescuable.
No,
We
they're-
don't want them either,
they're
so all
feral
we can
cats.
do is
Yeah.
euthanize them.
Right.
So our euthanasia rate was really high, the numbers we had back then. But we went to TNR, that just dropped the numbers tremendously. Where we had, the cats that we were getting was either adoptable or returnable to the owner. The ones that weren't, they went back out to the, neighborhoods. And you wanna take them to the same neighborhood, that you bring them in from. However, there is a way to, if you're having a nuisance problem.
Right.
Where the neighbors just said, no, I want these cats gone. You can relocate them, but you've gotta work with your rescue people to find a place to relocate them, like I was saying earlier about barns. People that has barns, you can take them and put them in barns. Now, they may stay, they may not,
But
but,
if you cut them, they will stay.
right,
Because they're not out catting
Right.
around.
Right.
Right.
exactly.
Right.
On that part, plus it found that the spraying goes down too on the male cats. They don't spray the territory when they're neutered because they don't have a reason to mark the territory. Basically. And so that's why the education, you have to educate the public, because if not, all they're gonna look at is that's a nuisance cat that's messing in my flower bed.
Yes.
Or it's tearing up my.
Or getting in your trash.
And if
Exactly.
we just take it relocated and.
Or getting in my boat, under my boat cover, and messing the boat up, stuff like that.
Well, and I can tell you that with North, because we started in 2013, and until I left in 2022, I kept the stats on it. And it was bad in the day. I mean, there was a day I came back and there was like 50 cats laid out that were being euthanized. Starting, when we started TNR in 2013, and between that time and in 2022 when I left, one healthy adoptable cat was euthanized in that all those years. Because the spaces that feral cats were clogging up, now all the healthy adoptable cats could stay longer and they were moved through.
Yeah, the main thing is you just limit replication. Because those cats actually become part of that ecosystem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like I say, there'll be plenty of, when they live out a long, healthy life and, it's just.
And they kind of naturally, the lifespan of them naturally just kind of takes care of itself. So
Exactly
you
what you're
don't
saying.
really get, once they're spayed and neutered and released, you don't get the next generation. So you don't have it as highly populated. And coyotes get them,
Right.
nature gets them. And they it kind of takes care of itself.
Sometimes they're going off to another area.
Yeah,
In the area
So it works
on their
out.
own, or a car runs over them or something, you wind up,
Exactly.
you pick them up deceased on the side.
Mhm.
You hate for all that to happen, but that's the way.
That's just the way it's
But
That's just a natural, just like out in the wild, deer hunting and stuff, I mean, out in the wild animals that are bigger than the small ones are gonna get the small ones, that's their food chain.
Yes.
And that's just the way it is.
It's just the way it works.
Nature is.
And over time, that's what we found, is these neighborhoods that were problems, they were, got them all fixed. There were problems for a little while, and then they slowly.
It's slowly.
Balanced
Especially in
out.
Arlington, there are certain areas that are just having a divot cap problem.
Oh, you get that right.
Yeah,
East Arlington.
yes, well, that and like,
Yeah.
that filter area with all
Oh,
the,
yeah.
you know, and then over by Lake Arlington,
For real.
Yeah.
all the,
Exactly. So anyways, TNR is a good program, I think.
I think so too.
And Howard worked to help to get it put in place, I think is a.
Cool, we're gonna do that.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, anything, what do we got here? Consideration and possible action, we don't have anything we need to move on, correct? Not yet. With no executive session, 2:45, we are adjourning, wait.
Hang on. Do we ever get an official vote from, I don't have the agenda from,
For the
or your
ordinance?
agenda for the ordinance?
the next steps if ordinance is adopted.
Next steps if ordinance was adopted. So this is on the agenda underneath here. So Mayor Pro Tem, I would recommend just to help out
Uh-huh.
when this goes to Forest Hill on the 4th, that somebody make a motion to, a motion of support for the ordinance as drafted.
Okay,
And then somebody second and vote on that. So that way, when this goes to the council in Forest Hill and when it comes back to the council here in Everman, we can officially say that the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee has recommended the ordinance as it's written.
Good for everybody.
Because without an official action kind of improperly saying,
okay,
you see what I'm saying?
I do. So what do we need to,
Just somebody, and you're doing it under that item, under C. I would just recommend that somebody make a motion to support the ordinance, or make a motion to recommend to both city councils that this ordinance be adopted as written.
And I'll do that, it works.
okay, somebody wanna say the words?
I did, I just
said
adopted.
she-
Oh, you, gotcha. Second?
I second.
Everybody in favor, raise your right hand. Everybody, to vote no, raise your left hand. Motion approved. Excellent, excellent.
Just all you need, really.
Good to have you.
If you would like to.
Let me throw out it is 2:47 and we are adjourned. Now,